Hello my fellow fashion enthusiasts. Today direction Paris, to discover the Ami Men's and Women's Spring-Summer 2027 show. A collection that reinvents practical luxury, elevating urban style under a scorching heat. Paris, literally crushed under the blinding light of a peak heat wave. How do you translate that suffocating atmosphere, that city humidity, into a breath of effortless, airy and perfectly mastered elegance? Alexandre Mattiussi takes on that bet backstage. He decides not to suffer the weather, but to make it the creative engine of his show. The designer turns this summer heat into raw, authentic energy. The sun-baked asphalt of the capital becomes the ideal backdrop for a breathable, confident wardrobe, deeply rooted in its era. The approach here centers on a quest for purity and functionality. Alexandre Mattiussi's core idea remains unchanged: elevate everyday clothing without ever compromising its clarity. The designer captures the essence of contemporary Parisian street style, filtering it through finely crafted fabrications. Simplicity becomes a true statement of refinement. Every single piece feels designed for real life, without ever sacrificing elegance. On the runway, the models walk with a relaxed, fluid stride, a nonchalant pace that embraces the slowness imposed by the heat. The overall posture relies on a carefully studied interplay of proportions and easygoing lines. Softened shoulders, deep armholes, paired with athletic shorts, knee-high socks, and chunky dadcore sneakers. The silhouette remains athletic, urban, and beautifully balanced. The architecture of the garments breaks free from rigid traditional tailoring, favoring an intuitive, adaptable fit. These pieces are made to move with the body. A key example of this structural design lies in convertible hybrid pieces, such as a shirt skirt whose sleeves naturally wrap around the waist to act as an integrated belt. The cut rediscovers itself through a simple, natural gesture, transforming a classic garment into a versatile staple built for daily wear. The contrast of materials brings immediate visual relief, without ever weighing down the silhouette. Sequined skirts contrast sharply with the matte finish of supple leather, or the fluid texture of ribbed knitwear. Under the scorching sun, the color palette stays practical yet joyful. Accents of cavalry red and classic navy rhythmically slice through the space, offering a bold, sporty structure to the entire collection. Looking closely at the atelier's craft, the secret to this collection lies in the preparation and treatment of the textiles. Long silk trench coats and lightweight suede jackets undergo special washing techniques to break down that brand new stiffness. This gives them a rich patina, an immediate softness, and a fluid drape. It evokes the memory of a perfectly preserved vintage gem. The collection opens with a graphic menswear selection, featuring bold prints celebrating the host city. Then, the women's wear offering unfolds with added lightness and sheer touches. The styling leans into smart layering, slipping backless slip dresses over crisp white poplin shirts. Here, we find everything that defines Ami's identity, a signature Parisian elegance that prioritizes comfort without losing the sharp precision of its cuts. The narrative then reaches its peak, where the fluid movement of evening cuts and breezy fabrics seals this thermal rise. This grounded vision might, however, divide some fashion observers. By prioritizing familiar shapes and borrowing heavily from activewear, Alexandre Mattiussi transforms his runway into a real-world testing ground for daily style. The boundary deliberately blurs between the grand spectacle of a conceptual show and an immediately wearable, ready-to-wear wardrobe. Beyond a seasonal performance, this presentation marks a cohesive milestone in the house's history. It reaffirms Ami's ability to define a modern, accessible, and desirable Parisian vocabulary. This collection shows that a constant search for everyday comfort and simplicity never has to compromise presence or visual impact on a runway. Do you think today's luxury lies primarily in this smart simplification of the wardrobe? Let me know in the comments. I'm curious to hear your take. Thank you so much for joining me for this analysis. For a bit of fashion trivia, The rugby motifs and sport chic aesthetic reinterpreted on today's runway were popularized in mid-20th century collegiate wardrobes before being adopted into contemporary fashion. I wish you an amazing time watching the rest of the show. Enjoy every look, and I'll see you very soon for a new breakdown.